There comes a moment when something inside you says, it's time. Time to take the chance. Time to make the change. Time to become who you were always meant to be. I'm Elise Litwin, and this is The Fiery Redhead, a podcast about courage, reinvention, resilience, and the spark that ignites our next chapter. Let's ignite the fire within. So let's get this fire ignited. I always say to my audience, what would you do if you could sit with your younger self? Well, today I am actually sitting with my younger self. This is the first podcast that I've smiled about when I started preparing it. I was like, this is going to be so much fun. And what I mean by that I'm sitting with my younger self, I am sitting with my oldest friend. And I mean, we're old. So this is Jennifer. Let me introduce her. This is my oldest friend from childhood. And she's doing me the honor today to share a little bit about herself and how her fire is ignited. But I'm going to go way back first and tell you about what Jen and I used to do. Jen and I, every other weekend, we were at each other's house. It's her house one weekend, my house one weekend. All weekend with snacks. We just stayed in our bed. And I always wondered, what did our moms think about us? Like, what are they doing in there? So what were we doing in there, Jen?
Oh, we were talking about what we wish would happen, and we called it our dreams. We made up stories, and ironically, we're both kind of doing that now. So
we are. So hold that thought, because that's where I'm going to go with this. But first, I have to take our viewers and listeners there. So I got to get us to that point. I can hear them. Don't worry about it. It's her dogs. We do this at home, everybody, so it's all cool. So first, Jen, I want you to tell us a little bit about when you were younger, in those times when we were doing our dreams. What kind of fire was inside of you? What were your future aspirations? What did you think you were going to be?
Well, I think what was interesting about the dynamics of our friendship and our relationships with our moms was my mom was a very powerful business lady. She was a dean of a college, and she was kind of my hero. She always knew the right thing to say. She always knew how to handle every problem, and I really looked up to her. And I wanted to be like her. And throughout my career, I kind of aspired to that, and that was kind of my motivation. She raised me like I didn't even know you didn't have to go to college. Like going to college was not an option. Like I went and I had a very exciting, fun, fulfilling career, and I think I kind of achieved that. But back to your question of how I felt as a kid, it's watching my mom. I kind of lit that ambition. I guess.
Yeah.
So,
she, first of all, I was always kind of jealous because your mom was just, I don't know, she just seemed so cool to me. She is cool. She's still with us.
Yeah.
She is cool. And I always enjoyed going over there and listening to her stories, or she would take us to fashion shows. And I thought, how cool, like, Jen's mom puts this stuff on. So my parents didn't go to college, so I was seeing a completely like opposite, I guess, my dad was self-made kind of thing, and my mom worked at a preschool. So I was seeing a different version through your family, and your mom motivated me as well.
Well, what's interesting is your mom was kind of like my second mom, and
right.
My mom wasn't exactly the warm and fuzzy, so what I was lacking that from my mom, I kind of got from your mom. So I think the influence from having our friendship and being so close to each other's family, I think we both got the best of both of our moms. So.
For sure.
Your mom was like walking into a hug.
She was definitely like walking into a hug. I miss that hug, but yes, she definitely was. I always just wanted to be famous. That was my thing. I just wanted to be famous. I used to sing in my room and just, whatever, pretending like I was being interviewed. Now I'm interviewing somebody. So it's just kind of interesting when you're like young, your perception of parents, how your friends see your parents and feel about your parents, and how they mold us is
That's very
really
true.
interesting. Really
Yeah,
interesting.
I see that with my daughters now. They were
Yeah.
the same ambition that I had that I kind of got from my mom. Both my girls followed in my shoes and have very successful big jobs right now, and I'm really proud of that because not only was my mom a role model, but I guess I'm a role model too, which makes me
Isn't
feel
that
like
nice?
I've accomplished a lot. So
Yes. It's funny how we see ourselves and then how other
mm,
people see us. It's just very interesting in that you emulated the same thing your mom did in you for them, and I just think that's like so cool. I mean, I got one still in college, so I don't know yet where she's going. The other one's doing pretty good herself. But again, for them, so for me, it wasn't like college was that's it. I didn't grow up that way. It was what I wanted. My brother didn't do it. But for my girls, it was like you. It was college. There was no other options. You were going to college. So I get that. They probably,
but what I
yeah,
find interesting though is that the perception of what you're supposed to do. Like I've always thought you go to college, go to college, you get married, you have kids, you have a career, you live in the suburbs, you have 2.5 kids, white picket fence, the whole
right.
story, and you stay in a job as long as you can, you have your 401k, and then you retire. Nobody really tells you what the next step is. And then looking
No,
back, that's not even the rules anymore. So
no,
it's you can really, as you put it, light your fire,
yeah,
even as old as we are now. So
yeah. So going back to our younger selves, what do
mm,
you think our younger selves would think about you and
I think they get a kick at it. 50 years later, we're still talking, and our lives were kind of parallel.
I? Yeah,
I think the funniest thing that cracks me up is that we used to talk about, oh, I wish we'd meet our husbands and have them brothers or best friends, and here our husbands go on golfing trips now, meeting each
no,
other without our relationship in South Florida. I mean, how
it had
crazy is
nothing
that?
to do with it. My husband joined
Nothing.
the golf club and found
Yeah,
out that her husband was working. I mean, was playing there, so they kind of became friends on their own without us.
that's the funniest part to me.
Yeah,
That our
it's
younger
kind of
self
like
would
this
go,
weird full circle kind of moment.
yeah, yeah,
So
that is weird.
it is kind of weird, but you're right. I try to think about whenever I'm with you, first of all, whenever we get together, we have marathon talks like we will right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the little girl in me comes out a little bit when I'm with you. Like
Yeah,
you're the only person really, besides family, that can tap into that part of me.
yeah. I think we're our most authentic selves because
Yeah.
we are those little giggly girls.
Yeah, we really are. We really are. So, talking about, okay, so we go from childhood and what, we dream and want and your mom's influence. So, where did you wind up with your profession?
Well, I had a really fun job, a lot of fun jobs. I
Yes, you
was
did.
responsible for event and entertainment and sports marketing. And I've worked at an arena, a stadium, a performing arts center, a convention center, and two iconic resort hotels doing the marketing. So I've really done some incredible things everywhere from Super Bowl to All Star games to championships of all kinds of sports. So it was a really fun ride. And up until recently, when I became a grandma and decided to retire. So now I'm
I, I,
pivoting.
I, right, when First of all, I'm gonna go back a little bit. The first thing, besides like I was always like in awe of you a little bit as a kid, and I don't know, you were just always so bubbly and you were so social, and I never felt like that comfortable, and I kind of like you gave me a good, I guess, role model that way, like to follow your lead. Like if I was with you in a group, you were social, and it kind of like helped me along. But I remember so vividly, and I think I've brought this up to you before. I remember like laying on the lower bunk in my dorm room with the phone with the long cord, and you're telling me how you are working on the rowing team at your college, and you were the what? What do you call the person in the front?
Well, I I think I talked to you when I went to the first thing. I met some hot guys at the bar that were on the rowing team. So I woke up at the crack of dawn to go to the lake in Michigan. This is nevertheless during winter term to go there, and they told me I needed to lose 10 pounds and I had to be up at the crack of dawn. And I went, okay, thank you very much. And that was the end of my rowing career. So,
But you
no,
had
I
told me
wasn't rowing.
but you had told me you were gonna do it, and I'm thinking, she's so fucking cool. I'm like, you're this little
No, it
petite thing, 10
was the
pounds.
hot guys at the bar.
But then, but I'm thinking, she's so fucking cool. She's gonna go on this boat, sit at the and yell at all these boys, and I'm like, what a like powerful person. I just remember that, and
Yeah,
and then
I totally epic fail on that one, but
well, okay, so let's move on to the next. Then when you were telling me about, we had like a gap where we lost contact.
hmm
And then we gained contact again, and you started telling me what you had been doing. My mouth was like open. I'm like, here's this younger person from my younger childhood, right? And she did such big things, like such cool things. How did you like, I mean, you were like mingling with like famous people and athletes, and like, where did you find that like confidence?
Well, I think it was a little bit of ignorance. I didn't even know half the people I was mingling with. You know, backstage or behind the scenes, you're kind of the help. but
Right,
but as you kind of working, at the stadium where the Marlins and the Dolphins played, I got to see a lot of really cool stuff. And then moving to the arena where I started doing the concert marketing, learning all the different types of music, it just became kind of like your job. You don't get excited like that anymore. But it was a really fun ride. I really enjoyed my career. It was a lot of fun.
are you
It was a lot
proud
of
of yourself?
hours. It was a lot. It was demanding, but
Yeah.
but I, but I
Are you
look back
proud of
with nothing
yourself
but
when you look
fond
back
memories.
at it?
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing but fond memories, and I'm very appreciative for the career that I had. I think that each time a new job came, I was ready for a new challenge, and that's kind of how I felt towards the end of my career, my corporate career. I'm not saying I'm
Right,
ending career, but my
right.
corporate career is. It was, or even in working hospitality in these beautiful resorts. And I mean, I sold fun and escapism. I mean, you need to kind of be a bubbly person to do that. So
Oh yeah,
it
I mean,
came
you
naturally for me. So
definitely
yeah,
filled that bill, that's for sure.
yeah.
Having the bubbly, I mean, I even went and visited you with my youngest, and
Mhm.
I was very impressed. Just watching you walking around the resort and just showing it to us, and the way you were talking to my daughter about hospitality and stuff, just very impressive to see you in that, I guess, in your place, in your zone kind of thing.
Well, I guess I can say the same for you, having your own podcast and writing a book. I mean, you kind of blew me away too. So it's a two-way street.
It's just kind of funny because I don't know, like sitting here right now, I see the younger you, and it's just kind of like, it's like we're always just telling those dreams and those stories and where our life goes, and sometimes we have sad moments we talk about too, and and thinking about how did those things happen in our life too, like we've gone through the
Right.
happy and the sad together as well. Um,
That's true.
And so it's just interesting to see how we both kind of evolved
Yeah.
into, like, I'm not famous, but I am interviewing and I am on YouTube. And so, like, that little spark that kind of was there is flourishing in me now.
Mhm.
And you are doing some interesting things too with your pivot in your life besides being a grandma.
Yeah, I think my decision to change careers came also, I was listening to your last podcast and you talk about the aha moment that you had that you needed to make some changes.
Right.
And I too experienced that. My father had fallen after Parkinson's disease and he had a brain bleed and he was never the same again. And leaving the hospital that day, I realized that he wasn't much older than I am now when he got Parkinson's, and a long life is not guaranteed. And it
No.
kind of like was a little bit of an aha moment, and sure, and then I kind of started thinking about, I don't know if I want to keep working. I feel like there's something bubbling up inside of me that I need to do
Right.
that I couldn't put my finger on it. And then when my daughter told me she was going to have a baby and asked me if I would help her raise the baby, that was my plan. So during her pregnancy, I got my job all set. I made sure that they were taken care of and phased myself out and made sure my mortgage was paid off and the wedding was done. Everything was,
Right. All that stuff. Right.
and then I decided that it was time that I had to find out what it was. So I've been going through, I would say, a couple of years of this soul searching and being open to new ideas and revisiting different people and talking about how I feel and what direction I want to go in. And I had always been I was a communications major. I talk a lot, I write a lot. In my job, I wrote a lot, and I started writing, and it kind of became a little bit of a passion. So I've been writing a book, I guess it is, for since the pandemic, and don't know where it's going, but I'm in the final editing stages, and we'll find out if it is something. But it is the first thing that has given me peace and has given me a little bit of passion and a little bit of purpose. And that's kind of what the three mantras that I was looking for when I decided to leave a corporate job, because those were the
Right.
things I felt like I was kind of missing. I was kind of going through the motions, and I had been living for everybody else. I've been taking care of somebody else my whole life, or my job, or supporting other
Right.
people's dreams in my job. So I'm really excited about what's next and what transpires from it. So we'll see what that is.
I just, because I go back again to our childhood
Yeah.
and how you're you're telling stories again. You're
Well, the
telling,
storyteller, that's what marketing is. So
right,
it's innate, the storytelling.
right,
The writing, I'm still trying to figure out, but the storytelling is, and ironically, a lot of things I write about have a lot to do with friendship, because that is one of my biggest joys in my life is my friends
right.
and being a social person and being part of communities, and it's very important that to have that connection.
Yeah.
So,
It's you just had that common thread, the storytelling from when you were a
mm,
little girl till now, and it's morphed into so many different things in your life.
it's true. Yeah, it
And when
definitely
you were
has.
just right, when you were just talking about it, I could hear like the fire in you. I could feel the spark, the excitement.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
When I started doing it, I felt something I hadn't felt before, like something that I could create on my own. There wasn't a deadline for a marketing plan or a campaign or
Right.
something. It was something that not only was it for myself, but I felt like I had something to say and nothing to lose. So,
Yeah. And I think that's a great way to look at life in general. You have something to say it. you have a desire inside of you. Figure out how you can make that come to life in whatever way works for you, whatever creates that
Mm-hmm.
spark. And for
That's true.
me, watching you from a young girl to where you are now is just kind of cool. And you're very inspirational to me. Whenever we're together, some of the things you say, I always come out of it with, I guess, aha moments or something I take from it that I want to kind of integrate into my own thought process. I don't even think you realize you do that when you're
Well,
talking. It's me. I can't say for anybody else, but for me, I get that from you.
well, it's funny you should say that. A bunch of people have said you should be a inspirational speaker or a life coach or something. But I think that the lessons that you learn and being a storyteller, there are ways to get it across to help others,
Yeah,
or you see a part of yourself. And having this
yeah,
weird journey that I went on, which I mean, even seeing you, like the confidence you have, like I'm gonna write a book, and I'll be damned, you wrote a book. I'm gonna do this podcast. 200 episodes later, check it. I'm like, holy shit! I mean, it amazes me that um, unlike you, I was always a talker. I can talk. I can tell ice to Eskimos, but the
right.
follow through and the doing the thing, that's something I hadn't been very proud of. Like I'm gonna go on a diet or I'm gonna do these things, and I didn't always do them. And now, without the pressure of a job or my family or whatever, it's just joy and the things that I do. I'm more present, and I think
Yeah,
it's bringing out more positive things, and I see it in the stories or the feelings that I have, and I'm able to express myself a little bit more um, constructively, and I don't know, I hope I'm able to use this for good instead of evil and help others.
well, yeah. I mean, I think it will. I mean, I think when people hear this podcast, there's going to be a lot of aha moments for people who are going to listen to this, whether they're in the thick of their profession or teetering on, becoming empty nesters or becoming grandparent or whatever it is. It's going to, but even the story of us as our younger selves
Yeah.
will spark something in younger people who listen to this. So I think we both have become very, I guess, confident in what we say to people.
Yeah, I
Like,
think it comes
there's
from experience. Yeah.
it does, but I also think it comes from the learning process of learning who we are.
You know what I also realized? I think one of my biggest aha moments was that I was so worried about what other people thought that it kept me from it kept me in a box of what everybody's expectations were.
Yep.
And when I left work and I realized nobody cares. Nobody cares that I had that job. Nobody cares what I wear. Nobody cares what I look like. I do,
Right.
but here I thought I was being the pleaser or I was following the rules.
Right.
And when you get out of your box a little bit and you think, hey, what do I like? Like somebody asked me, tell me about yourself, like a week after I stopped working. And my first thing was to talk about this cool career I had. That's in the past.
Right.
Who was I at that moment and who am I becoming? I had
Yeah.
I need a new elevator speech, like I need a new
Right.
branding campaign. So I rebranded my Funtirement. I'm not
I
retired,
love
I'm
that.
fun tired.
Right. I
So
love that.
I find joy in little things, and my focus of my purpose is a lot of my family and helping where I can, and my passion. I'm trying to add purpose into whatever I'm writing or creating or supporting. Still doing some a little bit of freelance work here and there, so I'm still able to
Right.
keep the creative juices going,
Right. That's
but
great.
you're right. You're still evolving. Every going on a trip makes you think differently. Going on a being with
Sure.
different types of friends at different times you makes you challenges you to think differently. I think you have to keep putting yourself out there to keep growing. But going
Yeah.
back to what you were saying about being, your younger self, I think it kind of, you get the seeds when you're little, and as they
Yeah.
blossom and grow, then you light them on fire.
Yeah.
So,
And we both have done that.
yep.
The picture that I posted, which I will attach to this, but I also put on social
The
media,
embarrassing picture.
of the two of us in our short shorts and shirt and a headband. Typical 80s look, folks. Typical 80s look. But like I just stared at the picture and just was like, wow. Like
Yeah.
just trying to
That's a
think about
lifetime
those
ago.
two girls. What?
It's funny because in some ways it seems like a lifetime ago,
I,
and talking to you, it feels like last week. It's
right.
amazing how,
That's what I was gonna say. It's
yeah.
like you look at me and go, holy shit! Like look how young we were. But then it feels like last week or when we're talking like this, whatever, it just feels like if you forget what we look like, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm that girl again.
Right,
And I
right.
love how we can have people in our lives that tap into those, that only they can tap into those sides of us, bringing out that inner child in us. It's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I think friendships, especially old friendships, are very special because, like you said, we're each other's history. Not
Yeah.
not a lot of people have that, and
No,
and reconnecting with old friends and talking about old times and seeing how far you've gone is pretty special.
it is pretty special. But it's
Hmm.
also cool to see that we're not dead yet. We're still evolving. Like we're not like, okay, you're retired, you're a grandma. I'm doing this stuff, but I don't do the work that I used to do, and like we're still like kicking it, like we're young because we are young, and we don't have to let the restraints of society hold us
Right.
down and stop us from doing. Because I do feel like for like watching my mom, I feel
Hmm.
like growing up in the 50s and that way of life, she got to a point where, and that was it. She really didn't go out of her box, and that motivated me. And I would tell her that, like, that just was who she was, and she wasn't comfortable. And when I would push myself to do things, she'd be like, "Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "Because I have to. I have to step out of that box." Because I don't want to be when I do get to the point where I'm not as physically able or who knows,
Right.
mentally, whatever. I want to know that I lived it to the fullest. That I always kept that fire inside of me burning.
Hmm.
That's how I just want to go through whatever I have. Like you say, tomorrow's never, you know, for
No,
sure.
for sure.
So I want to know that I lived my life to the fullest and that I didn't say, okay, I'm this age now and I shouldn't be doing this. You know what I mean? Or I shouldn't have long hair because I'm at this age. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Very true. Very true.
just live it to the fullest. All right, I have some questions I want to ask you.
Okay.
So they're kind of like fun little thingies here.
Uh-oh.
So, okay. All right. Give me one word that describes you.
Personable.
Awesome.
Mhm.
I love that. Give me the biggest wish that you've ever had that's come true.
I'm a grandma. I have my baby girl.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
exciting. That's so
Yeah.
exciting. I mean, that's like one of the biggest things to me in life. That's just so cool.
She's pretty.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Best piece of advice. Um, uh, look out for number one, but don't step in number two. No.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I love it. That's perfect. And that's so you, anyways. Like that's just so perfect. Okay. Okay. What lights your fire today?
um, I think my aha moment of there's more to life than what you're supposed to do, and and you can keep recreating and evolving, you're not stuck with the identity that you had. Like, I always saw my identity as my job. That when I was proud of my job, I
Yeah.
lived my job, and if somebody asked me about it, that's what I would talk about. And when
Hmm.
that was gone, all of a sudden I had to find myself.
Yeah.
But this process of finding yourself is kind of cool. Like I
Very
never had
cool.
a hobby before or a passion or
Right.
and now I'm able to explore those things. And um, I'm sure I'm not answering your question, but I think
No,
it's
you actually
cool.
are, and one thing that I had written on my cards that I didn't bring up is I felt like I never had a passion. Like not
Yeah.
like I did my work. I went through the motions and did the things, but I never really had a passion till now. Like this is
Well, I
like
think
so
when
cool to me.
between our job and being a mom and being a wife and being a daughter and all of the things that you're conditioned to that take up all of your time and space, there's not a lot of room for yourself. I was kind of the last one on my own list. I, you
Always.
know, and I think now, my family, just like yours, everybody comes first.
Right.
But as far as the opportunity to explore other things and not ask for permission, like my family doesn't, take, they don't ask me what I'm doing or whatever, and I don't need them to. It's more
Right.
personal, you know.
Right.
I don't need validation for whatever I'm
Right.
doing, and I just have a sense of calmness and joy and live in the moment. And I'm really present, which is very different than my past. I was always like on a hamster wheel, going to the next thing, making sure I didn't drop the ball somewhere. And now I'm like kind of in a good place.
I love
And I
it.
can say no. I never said no to anything. That's probably
I
how I have
love
two kids.
saying
But
I had no
no,
problem saying no, baby.
well, there's power of no for sure.
There is definitely power of no. Okay, let's see. My last question. Is it my last one? I have two more. Okay. Um, what is something you're still dreaming about?
Hmm. Dreaming about or things that I'd like to do, which when if it is it far fetched or things that I want to accomplish as a dream, which or doesn't matter.
However you perceive the question.
Yeah, I would like to think that I'm not done contributing in some way.
Okay,
Um,
that's beautiful.
as a storyteller, I feel like I have a I have a purpose, and I'm still in the process of figuring out what that purpose is and how to bring it to life. I don't know if it's through my writing. I'm still trying to figure out my footing on it. But
Right,
taking care of my my granddaughter and future grandchildren while they're young and being able to mold them into the
right.
the kind of molding that I had that I was fortunate enough to have. I feel
Yep,
good about. But I still feel I think my dream is having a purpose and making a difference. I think that
love
in
it.
a nutshell. But to do that, you got to do the thing. You have to. You can't talk about it. You can't think about it. You actually
Right.
got to do it. So that's it. Also takes preparation and planning and thinking about it and then doing it.
Right. But the flame is ignited. That's the important part. Is that it's
Oh,
ignited, it's there, the embers are burning, they're coming up. It's just making the plan, not just
yeah.
talking about it. A lot of us are talkers. So it's not just
Yeah.
talking about it, it's actually putting it into action. And that's
Yes.
that's a hard part. It takes a lot of work and determination,
Yeah. And
which
it
you
also
definitely.
takes planning and research. Like I think that
Yeah, that's
when
it.
like one of a couple years ago, one of my New Year's resolutions is to learn something new every day. It's the only New Year's resolution that I have ever stuck to. I listen to a podcast. I read something. I talk to somebody I haven't talked to before. I ask questions. I surf the internet for a word I didn't understand or whatever. But every day I learn something new. And 4 years later, I'm 4 years smarter than I would have been if I didn't do
Yeah.
that.
Isn't that
So
cool?
and I'm open to other people's ideas and difference than me. And I at first I was like, that's interesting, and now I it makes me think differently because I'll hear somebody's different opinion on something and I'll go, and I think it's just made me a little more mature, but also
Yeah.
a little bit more open to other ideas and new exciting things. So I think that's one of the favorite things that I've ever done that I've stuck to. So, and
I wish everybody could think that way, like you were
yeah,
just saying, because it's kind of ugly out there. You know what I mean? And if we all just could just get along and listen to each other and learn from each other and be open-minded to new you may not agree with them,
right.
but open-minded to those new thought processes, I think makes you more worldly, makes you more understanding, helps you grow, and in turn that bubbles up into the things that you want to do in your life. But we really have to just listen to people, and I don't think people listen enough
No, I
at
don't
all.
think so. But when you turn off the noise and you
Yeah,
pay attention to what somebody has to say or a new experience, it's pretty cool. And it,
it
it's
is. It is really cool. So
and it
that's
does
that's
make
that's our key to these listeners is they need to listen to people more and look
yeah.
at people's different perspectives and just learn from it. You don't have to agree, but you can learn and grow from it
Mm-hmm.
for sure. All right,
No.
this is last question I have for you. If someone's listening, they feel stuck, lost, or afraid to step into the next version of themselves, what would you tell them, Jen?
Well, um, I'll tell you what I would tell. I've had this question quite a few times from friends and employees. I'm like, take a bottle of wine and go sit on the beach and figure out what you want. I think the first thing is you really need to spend some time with yourself and think about what's important to you and what you want to do. And it's not one day at the beach. I mean, it took me 2 years to get my shit together to figure out what direction I wanted to go. And I started eliminating things that I didn't want and kind of narrowed down to things that I did want. But I think deciding what you want to do and then putting together a plan. Going back to my corporate days, you don't start a business without a business plan. You don't start a marketing plan, campaign without a plan and a strategy
Right.
and a timeline. I mean, and if you're worth the investment. You get one life. If you don't take charge of that, you're not going to go anywhere. And I spun for a long time until I figured it out. And I see a lot of people spinning for a long time,
Yeah.
but you have to, there's so many aspects of your life from your family and your friends and your finances and your belief system that you need to kind of take all of that into consideration. You know, if you're not in a financial opportunity to quit your job, you can't quit your job. Can you change your job? Can you have a side hustle where you're building what you really want? Sure, but those are the things you have to take into consideration.
Right.
You know, if you don't want to work for somebody, you want to work for yourself. Do you know enough to start your own business? I mean, these
Mm-hmm.
are all, you got to do your homework and you got to
Yeah.
have a plan. But
Yeah.
just go, I want this. Why do you want it? What's motivating you? How long is it going to take you to get? I mean, it took me almost 2 years from the time I decided to stop working, to quit my job, to have all my ducks in a row, and to be not only financially and have everybody on board around me, but
Right.
wrapping your own head around change is really hard.
Yeah.
And be ready for it. And I think one of the things that I always do when there's something bad that's happening is or something scary, I give myself what I call my mourning period. So I gear up, and then a couple days or after whatever the scary thing is, I say, after those 2 days, I'm done. The past is the past. It's a line in the sand, and I'm moving forward. And it works. Like when I
That's
retired,
powerful.
I had a fun retirement party, and at that party, I looked at all my friends and my old colleagues and everything, and I'm like, this is very special. Like this is the end of this era. So starting Monday is the new me, and I'm moving forward. And that was really powerful for me because when I go back, I go, no, 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 that was the old you. Now it's the new me. I'm not going to have that same belief system or do the same things anymore. I'm
Right.
a different person now. And when you start treating yourself different things happen.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
now I think my listeners understand, excuse me, why I brought Jen here today.
So,
Because she is the epitome of a fire starter. From when she was
well,
a young girl, through all of her challenges and accomplishments to where she is today. She's still starting fires within herself and sparks in other people. And that's what this podcast is all about, is listening to people and their stories to know that yours isn't over yet, or it can be evolve into something completely and honestly different. You have two
sure.
women here sitting, you're listening to two women, either visually or listening to us, who were little girls together. And now we're grown women, and we're still evolving, and we're still changing, and that's okay. It's okay to be able to accept that and understand. And sometimes we do fail, and we have to get right back up, and we have to figure it out. Make the plan, like you said. Figure it out. Tap into what really ignites us and makes us feel motivated. And don't give up on your dreams ever.
No, and I have to tell you, I am so proud of you. From the woman you are, to the mom you are, to the wife you are, to the friend you are, and especially the following through with your dreams, and to speak your mind, and to say what you mean and mean what you say. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment. I'm really proud of you, my friend.
Thank you. I love you. Thank you. Well, these two girls were ready to go, but as I say to all my guests, you are now one of my fire starters. So I want you to keep going out there, Jen, and starting those fires, figuratively, not real, obviously, but start those fires in other people. Spread your
Trying.
word,
I'm
spread
gonna
your
try.
knowledge, spread your love. I mean, that's all we can do, and you did that today here on my podcast, and I'm very grateful to you for that.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor. Thank
Of course, love you. Thanks, Jen.
you. Take care.
Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this conversation sparked something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Connect with me on social media, leave a comment, share this episode with someone who needs it, and don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can find me everywhere at The Fiery Redhead. And remember, the fire was always there. Sometimes all it takes is one spark to ignite it. Until next time, keep growing, keep dreaming, and keep igniting the fire within. I'm Elise Litwin, and this is The Fiery Redhead.